Testimony in the Kim Potter trial continues, with the prosecution having gone through just over a third of its list of witnesses. Jurors will eventually decide whether Potter acted reckless and negligent during a traffic stop when she fatally shot Daunte Wright. During testimony this week, the assistant Hennepin County medical examiner said Daunte Wright could have never survived his injuries when a single shot from Potter's gun struck Wright in the chest.
With respect to timing, was this gunshot wound, the injuries that you observed through the heart and the lungs, was that a survivable injury?
As a forensic pathologist, I would say no.
Dr. Lauren Jackson says he has conducted more than 1,800 autopsies and was the one who responded to the Daunte Wright examination. The doctor said the majority of Wright's fatal injury was to his heart. Jackson also said the main psychoactive ingredient of marijuana was detected in Wright's blood, but it bore no significant level of importance to the cause of Wright's death. High-profile trials can often cause anxiety or PTSD for jurors, the victim's family, and the public who are watching the trial proceedings unfold on live television. Reporter Sonia Goins spoke with a mental health professional from Hennepin Healthcare about what to do if you're experiencing negative emotions from watching the Kim Potter trial.
I received a call from one of our investigators that there had been an officer-involved shooting.
Another emotional day in the Kim Potter trial as the medical examiner took the stand and walked the jury through Daunte Wright's autopsy report.
The body was lying in the grass.
Mental health experts say graphic details of the trial can often trigger anxiety, depression, and other health issues for people watching the trial unfold.
There's a lot of vicarious trauma that can happen. And vicarious trauma is just this traumatization that can happen from not being there on your own, but hearing the details or seeing images that can traumatize people.
Dr. Tally Vang is a primary care behavioral health psychologist and says people of color who are viewing the proceedings often experience racial trauma.
This trauma forms from what either experiencing the racism yourself or witnessing racism.
Dr. Vane says racial trauma can put communities of color on edge.
When people of color see this or they hear about it, it creates a heightened level of stress or hyper awareness of their surroundings.
Some of the initial symptoms of anxiety and stress include lower energy, racing heartbeat, and muscle tension.
You might notice that you have tension that you're holding in your shoulders, in your face, in your legs even.
Dr. Vane recommends people practice self-care and know their limits.
If you've been keeping up with this trial and you're going into work, but you know this is impacting you, knowing where your energy is at and knowing exactly what you have to speak up on and what you can let go for that day.
Sonia Goins, CCX News.
Dr. Vang says a long-term impact of racial trauma can lead to increased depression, anxiety, and other health problems. One person is dead after a single car crash in Brooklyn Center in the wee hours of Sunday morning. It happened west of Humboldt Avenue near 69th Avenue North. Officers found the vehicle off the road and on fire around 2:45 a.m. Once the fire was put out, they found one deceased person inside the car. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner has not yet released the name of that individual. Hennepin County Sheriff Dave Hutchison has been charged with 4 misdemeanors for drinking alcohol and getting into a single car crash in Douglas County last week. The Douglas County attorney charged Hutchison after he crashed on I-94 near Alexandria last week. He was charged with not only driving while impaired, but also carrying a pistol under the influence of alcohol. Hutchison's blood alcohol content was determined to be 0.13. A new program at Champlin Park High School aims to teach students about inclusion. In this week's School Spotlight, Delane Cleveland introduces us to the Unified Club.
We didn't want to miss the opportunity to have some fun bowling.
It's not every day that high school students have the opportunity to leave campus and go bowling. But this isn't your normal field trip. These students from Champlin Park High School are part of the Unified Club. And it's a glimpse of what the future could look like if people start living with the mindset that it's cool to include.
We have a group of students with and without intellectual disabilities who get together, they have a great time. We're hoping to really just spread the message of inclusion throughout our school and community.
Maya Miller started the Unified Club nearly 2 years ago. is associated with Special Olympics, which means they compete against other local unified clubs in various sports. But for the students involved, such as senior John Lindgren, competition is only a small part of what the club offers.
It's really a good idea to spread inclusion. Like that's our whole motto.
In previous years, there weren't many opportunities for students with intellectual disabilities to get to know people like Champlin Park's standout volleyball player, Allie Kopp. But Unified Club helps to break down those barriers.
People with disabilities are definitely not any different than anyone else. We're all the same, and we all should be friends and get along, and everyone should be included.
The Unified Club has about 30 students right now, but the hope is to get more of the school population to join the inclusion revolution and develop a mentality that will stick with them the rest of their lives.
Really just want to make it a norm at our school that inclusion is just what we do, it's who we are, it's what we stand for.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
A Brooklyn Park family opens their home each year to collect toys for tots. This year's collection did not disappoint.
This is 36 inches, so we got 3 feet. And most of this room is sitting at about 4 to 4.5 feet high of toys solid down to the floor.
Jerry says people continuously dropped off toys at his home this past weekend. One way that made this year's collection different was that people intentionally brought toys for teenagers, which is an area that's often lacking in donations. The Marines and Toys for Tots picked up the toys on Monday.
Many of the state's top boys basketball teams were at the Lindbergh Center at Hopkins High School Saturday for the Breakdown Tip-Off Classic. 2 local teams met in a marquee matchup. Jason Malillo has the highlights.
At the Breakdown Tip-Off Classic, top-ranked Wayzata facing second-ranked Park Center. Drew Berkland hits a 3 as the Trojans race out to a 7-0 lead. PC goes on an 11-2 run. Leo Torber the drive and huge jam for the Pirates. The Trojans respond. Berkland nails a money ball from the corner. Wayzata is up 30-21 at halftime. But it's all Bucks to start the second half. James Spencer, nice move down low for the basket. Torbor finds Ayuba Berthay and he hits from long range. Then Braden Carrington to Cody Pennebaker and he hits a triple. It's a 16-2 Pirates run and they take the lead. Hayden Tibbetts sparks Wayzata again. Baseline drive and a sweet reverse layup. Trojans go up 40-39. Carrington drives down the lane and finishes for PC. Then Torbor strokes a long three-pointer. Pirates up by 3. Carter Bierke answers right back with a 3 of his own for the Trojans. Park Center surges again. Berthay, great pass to Pennebaker for the flush. Pirates up 60-51. Wayzata battles to the end, but Park Center wins 66-62. Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
Also at the Breakdown, Maple Grove and Hopkins lost their games while Osseo scored a 9-point win over Edina. It was the first game of the season for the Orioles and the third for both the Royals and Crimson. The Osseo girls basketball team started a stretch of 3 straight home games on Friday. Jay Wilcox has the highlights from the Orioles matchup with Elk River.
Friday's snowstorm didn't stop the Osseo girls basketball team from hosting Elk River in Northwest Suburban Conference play. Jalen Choi with the crossover, and she drives it in for the lefty layup and an early lead for Osseo. Good passing for the Elks. Natalie Murphy to Ella Johnson to Kayla Christie for 2. It's a familiar sight in this one. The ball gets jabbed free from the dribbler, and Alea Wilson grabs it and takes it to the hoop for 2 plus the foul. Osseo's within 6-4. Christie gets it at the free throw line and muscles her way in to score with the left hand off the glass. She scores 14 total. Wilson drives and hits a tough bank shot of her own. Wilson scores 17 to lead Osseo, but they go on a long drought from here. In transition, Britta DeMar makes the nice move around the defender to score, and it's 20-10 Elks. DeMar gets it to Jordan Langben for the driving layup. She leads all scorers with 19, and Elk River pulls away to lead the Orioles 31-12 at halftime. Second half, and Murphy picks the dribbler's pocket and takes it in for the easy breakaway layup. It's 37-14 Elks. Choi answers with a nice drive. The second half is more even, but it's too far of a hill to climb for Osseo. Nice passing leads to 2 more for Johnson as Elk River rolls to a 64-37 win over Osseo. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
It's the last full week of high school games before the holiday break. We have 4 television games on our CCX schedule this week. Tuesday night, it's the opening night of play in Northwest Suburban Conference boys basketball as Armstrong plays at Champlin Park. That's at 7 p.m. here on CCX1 and online at ccxmedia.org. Thursday, it's boys hockey as Osseo hosts Tutino Grace in another Northwest Suburban Conference game. Face-off is scheduled for 7 o'clock at Dick Bra Arena in Osseo. Then on Friday, rivals Park Center and Osseo meet on the wrestling mat. That match is scheduled for 7 o'clock at Osseo High School. Finally, on Saturday night, it's girls hockey on CCX as Maple Grove travels to Champlin to take on Champlin Park Coon Rapids. Face-off on Saturday is at 7:30. All of these games are live on CCX. That's all for sports. I'm John Jacobson.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.